welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, Ozzy Mejil, who's a licensed real estate instructor and salesperson. He's with us here tonight for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. Like I said, I have a very special guest for you. For all of those who are interested in real estate, Ozzy Mejil is going to be your man tonight. Okay.
Thank you.
Licensed. Very important. You do real estate, you're a salesperson, you're a professional, you're an instructor. So we'll talk about all that in the interview, but welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
It's great to have you here because real estate is such a huge topic.
Yes, it is.
And you hear a lot from many different aspects of it, actually. Not just people who are interested in buying a home or purchasing a home, but actually people who are facing foreclosure. There's a lot of scams out there, people who even seek out professional help and still don't get anywhere. So kind of definitely want to focus on those things because it's a hot topic. So kind of let's talk about the overall real estate market right now. What's the scene in New York?
Well, the scene in New York is very good, especially for sellers. There's very low inventory, so for a seller, it's a great time to take advantage of it. For buyers, unfortunately for them, they're paying a little more than what they traditionally would. But if you're a seller, you jump on the train because that train's only going to go but so far. And at some point, it's going to come down. But right now, it's a great market for sellers at this time.
And like every other market, it's a little bit cyclical. You see it go up, you see it go down. So right now, it's at a peak for the sellers.
Well, when the market crashed back in 2007-8, usually averages about 10 years. Every 10 years, it goes up and down. So we're due. We're actually overdue. I personally think probably by the end of this year, the market will start going back down. We're overdue for that cycle. And so those sellers, they better get up. And if they want to sell, if not, they're going to miss it.
And once you miss it,
that's it. Then you got to wait a few more years then.
You do got to wait. So that's an interesting topic because a lot of people kind of sit back and they watch it. And some people really go deep into the research, looking at things like that, just waiting for that critical time that it may be right to just go in there and do it. And we'll play both sides. We'll give some advice for sellers, but we'll also give some advice, for people who are looking to buy.
Yes.
Because that's definitely a really big topic right now. Let's talk about Brooklyn.
Okay.
Brooklyn is super oversaturated. We know this. Brooklyn has changed from the Brooklyn that we know back in the day.
Sure.
They've even rezoned certain parts of Brooklyn, giving them these fancy names.
Sure.
That we know back then. That's still Flatbush. We know that.
Yeah.
Right by Prospect Park, Lefferts Gardens.
Yeah.
It just kills me when I hear things like that. But it's great. It's real estate development. But what's your overall view on that?
Well, I think any locations where you have close proximity to subway, to get into Manhattan, preferably, those properties are really sky high. So the closer the properties are to the subways, I find the values go up. So the further away you are from the trains, the value come down a little bit. So that's how you can. That's usually how one way to tell them where the market is. All the neighborhoods where they have access to the trains, they go up. Right now, we're looking at and as far as Brooklyn, we're looking at Brownsville and East New York, because that's like the only two neighborhoods left where the properties haven't gone up. And even though those areas, they're starting to climb fast because it's not that much inventory.
Wow, and you're about the third person who said that same thing. It's pretty much just East New York now.
Yeah.
That's going to be left for you to actually tap into if you're looking to get that low rate.
A chance anyways to get a piece of property at this point. That's probably where your best bet is. Brownsville, East New York, because every other neighborhood, the prices are they're just out of control.
So is there a way to control? What could be done for someone looking to buy in these areas?
Well, it's unfortunately because some people are just they can't afford the area. They just can't afford to buy in certain areas because based on their income they just can't afford it. So they end up renting. And then what happens with the rent? The rents are going sky high all over the place. Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, everywhere. So it's just, everything is just going up, 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 up.
So in your professional opinion, what do you think is really driving these things? Because we've heard over the years, renting issues has been going on. The prices are going up, and we hear different mayors over the years talk about stabilizing rents and trying to put a cap on how much people could raise the rent.
Well, the rates have been very low for the last couple of years, thanks to President Barack Obama. I mean, rates have been really low. Like, rates were like 3.5. At some point, they were like in the low threes. Today is like 3.89. So they're still under 4%. I mean, 25 years ago, the interest rate was like 17, 18%. So that's where the buyers are taking advantage of that low interest rate. That too will also come to an end. Those rates are going to start climbing probably close to 5, maybe even higher within a year from now. That's what they're estimating at this point. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
That is very interesting. So then when the interest rates go up,
That
that's
trickles the properties to come down, possibly. In most cases, the properties will start to come down. So everything balances out. Everything balances out.
well, on the flip side, when you do buy a house, your mortgage rate's going to be a little bit higher because you got a higher percentage.
Yeah. But the house that you're purchasing has dropped to a certain point, so it balances out.
It balances out. That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Excellent points. And there's so much to learn about this. That's why you actually, I think you almost have to take a class to like fully.
I think
grasp
also
it.
there's so many there's a lot of programs to help homeowners where not that much money down. You have the FHA, which is 3.5% down, which is a government loan. You have the New York State Ozzy Mejil loan, which is 3% down, and they also provide you with 3% of grant towards your closing costs. It's based on familials, the numbers of the family plus your income. It's a formula. There's another program called NACA, which they give you all the money to put down. You ain't got to put nothing down, and you can have money. It doesn't matter. It's a program which you have to put no money down. Literally no money down.
And that's a safe
kid
program?
you not. It's a safe program. Yes, it is. I've already put buyers into that program. And you got to stay in the property a certain amount of time.
Right. So they make sure you're not flipping it.
Yeah. It's not easy. You have to go through a counseling session with them. You got to remain in the property for a limited time. It comes with rules and regulations, but it's a great opportunity for some who don't have enough money. They can go into that opportunity. So I've personally helped people into 1 family, 2 families, with no problem at all. So it does, as long as you got a good job, you're making good income. There's programs up there. It's just that you have to seek out. You have to seek out the source. Once you have the source, then it can help you.
That is amazing, and definitely Ozzy's going to be your man because not just being a salesperson with it, you're actually an instructor. So kind of let's talk about that because I feel like you're instructing us here right now. We're getting a little brief 30-minute lesson, but of course there's so much you can't learn everything in 30 minutes.
Yes. I mean, I enjoy teaching potential real estate agents, teaching them the law, what they need to understand, but most important, treat everybody as if they were your own family members. I think that's very important. I enjoy teaching. It's just I'm passionate about it.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
It's awesome, and it's a wealth of information. We'll hold that thought. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, sitting here with Ozzy Mejil, real estate salesperson, instructor, all that. I'm going to call you a guru. You're the guru here tonight. You definitely are holding the keys to all the information a lot of people are somewhat intimidated by when you think about it. Because you hear a lot of buzz, buy, flip, make it seem that it's so quick and easy.
It's not always not.
It's really not. And there have been some horror stories where people have bought and then you can't get rid of it. different things. So kind of shed some light about, I guess, some of the myths.
Well, I think when it comes to people who maybe they put together $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, up to $100,000, and then they want to buy a property and flip it. Unfortunately, they don't seek out professional guidance. They'll read a book, whatever, or listen to somebody, but you really need somebody. For example, you need a professional real estate agent who can help you, who can represent you as a buyer's agent and be your source to guide you, because you're investing all the money that you have in one property. One mistake, all that money goes to waste.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times they try to shortcut, and they end up getting hurt in the long run, or they put too much trust in individuals that they don't know. So I always say, whether you're looking to buy a owner-occupied property, or you're looking to buy a house to invest, to flip, seek out a good, not just any realtor, but seek out a realtor who has credentials, who has that extra training, and that's where I come in. I have about 13 credentials plus the extra training. I just love education, I just love providing education to the public and also teaching the agents.
Well, that is very, very comforting to actually hear that, because not a lot of people, I didn't even know there are 13 different types of...
Well, there's I have certification in negotiations, buyer representation, seller representation, distressed property, different cultures. There's all type of, I got so many I can't even tell you all right now.
Right.
But when I see an agent and I see their business card and I see small little letters beside their name, that tells me that they've gone beyond, have taken extra education that you don't have to take, but you do because it sets you apart from other real estate agents. You see, so when people see my business card and they see all those titles next to it, they know I've taken the time to get myself educated, because the more education I get, the more I can help the public.
Absolutely, and that makes a lot of sense when you think
Sure.
about it, because a lot of people you can see, I almost feel like everyone's in real estate. People have told me, oh, go take the test. You don't even have to study for the test. You can go take the test, read the book, and then you're in real estate. And I'm like,
Well,
okay,
it's
it's got to be more than that.
Well, it's funny you say the test, because it's 75 hours in class, or you can do online course. You can do. I would advise you to take in class, because you'll learn a lot more in class than on the internet. 75 hours, and then you have to pass the real estate school test. Then you have to pass a state test, and then after that you got to be sponsored into a real estate broker's office. You have to be sponsored in, and you work under a real estate broker. That's how you are. So as a salesperson, you work under a broker with a real estate office.
Okay, so what is the difference between a broker and a salesperson?
Well, the broker technically is the owner of the office. He is the owner. So what happens is that you have salespeople that work under the broker. So once I can't have a real estate license unless I'm working under a broker's office. So I just can't practice real estate on my own. That's not what New York State, the law says, that you have to be working under supervision of a broker. Otherwise, you're practicing illegal real estate, which a lot of it goes on out there.
I was just going to say, I'm like,
on.
Because this is almost the first I'm hearing that you have to, because many people represent themselves. I'm an independent agent.
Sure. Well, we're independent contractors, all right, but our license is put in that real estate office, and ultimately that broker of the office, if we do something wrong, ultimately he's responsible. Or we can also be responsible, but his license to that office is in jeopardy if we do something illegal or corrupt.
Absolutely. So that's very comforting to know that, and know that you actually have to be able to practice it per se. You got to be under
a broker. Right.
And the sponsor portion, what does that mean?
Well, that means that, the sponsor program means that you just can't be a licensed real estate agent by yourself. You have to be sponsored through a broker's office. So you can walk into a real estate office and say, hey, listen, I'm looking to get my license next week. If I pass, I would like to know if I can be interviewed to work at your office. And you can be interviewed by the broker, and just like a traditional job.
Excellent. See, I'm learning something new, guys. I love it. I love learning. This is fantastic. So we know you specialize in purchasing between 1 and 4 family homes. That's one of the things that you actually help people get into. What kind of geared you into wanting to narrow in on that?
Well, that's one of the specialties that I work with.
Right.
A lot of times I find a homeowner is looking to buy a one family, and financially it becomes tough for them to pay the mortgage. So I ask them, well, don't you look into anywhere between 2 and 4? Because what happens is that, let's say with a 4 family, the 3